What's going on, guys? ChillisFM here. We did it. We hit legend, and it was with the team of my own creation. Toxicroak on the lead, Guzzlord as my closer, and Steelix on the safe swap. I've been wanting to try out Steelix as a safe swap for a while now. It's looked really solid, and it definitely performed. Plus, Guzzlord and Toxicroak, both great core breakers for a lot of teams, especially Toxicroak. Toxicroak felt like the MVP of this team. We're going to go ahead and jump into some of these battles. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. It is a little bit of a longer video because I did want to showcase more leads and more battles so you can understand how to play the team. All right, let's get it going. All right, first battle, Toxicroak into Jellicent. Absolutely a horrible lead. However, we do have Guzzlord, which completely walls it. So if I can get this aligned on Guzzlord, maybe I can take this game. They're going to be staying in here throwing Surfs, which do hit Steelix for super effective. So this is a bit of a core breaker for my team. I'm going to be building up like I have Crunch, even though I am running Earthquake. I think Earthquake is better on the safe swap, especially with the regular Steelix. If you're running Shadow, you'll probably want Crunch. Going to go ahead and just tank this next Surf. Steelix is incredibly bulky. Mine's not even maxed yet. It needs one more power up. We're going to be throwing this next Psychic Fangs. Again, I overfarmed just slightly to bait like I have Crunch, and it does pull a shield. And my opponent is going to be swapping out into a Skuntank. Here's the thing, they can never poison jab down. I can build up like I'm going to the Earthquake and force them to throw energy, and that's exactly what happens. Crunch comes through, takes out my Steelix. I come in now with Toxicroak. I can actually overfarm a little bit here, and then I can go for the CMP tie with Mud Bomb. Toxicroak is very glassy. It wins almost every CMP tie. Like Skuntank doesn't lose CMP to much, but it loses to Toxicroak here. And my Toxicroak is actually decent IVs, so yeah. So we do expect the Jellicent to be coming back in. I do stay in to throw one counter just in case, because Switch Clocks were misaligned, right? I didn't want them to big brain me, come in with their third Pokemon. I hard swap out into Guzzlord, and I end up losing because of that. I'm going to go ahead and soak a Shadow Ball there. We do hit some, like, the game completely froze on me. I don't know. I'm going to just go for the Dragon Claw here. I should be going Crunch. Crunch is much more energy efficient, and it has the chance of getting the defense drop. So going for the Crunch now. This will be putting them very low. They're only going to get one move off. Everything's resisted, right? Unless they're running Sludge Bomb, or what is it? Do they have Sludge Wave? I think they have Sludge Wave. Maybe it's Gunk Shot. One of them. Regardless, the normal moveset, Thunder Punch, Dark Pulse, everything's resisted, but it's still going to be doing more than anything from the Jellicent. Unless Jellicent is running Ice Beam. Nobody's running Ice Beam. So we showed it up. We take the game. All right, another core breaker lead, Shadow Swampert. Not as bad as you think. Not as bad as you think. Steelix doesn't want to see this at all. Toxicroak doesn't really mind it in the twos. We're going to go ahead and throw up a shield on the first Hydro Cannon. I'm going to CMP tie them on the second one. This is intentional. I want them to know that my Toxicroak wins CMP, because that's going to tell them I need to throw my next Hydro Cannon immediately to try to get it off before I throw my Mud Bomb. That's going to allow me to catch on my Guzzlord. So I have energy on my Toxicroak. I'm catching this resisted damage on my Guzzlord. Now, there's not a lot of times that I safe swap in Guzzlord. I do it occasionally though. So Swampert's one of them. Pidgeot's another one. I think those are the two main ones where I will end up safe swapping into Guzzlord over Steelix, just because Steelix is the hard answer for Pidgeot, and we just need to soak damage here on Guzzlord. They come out with a Galarian Weezing. They actually revealed that they have Play Rough. I think they could have thrown Brutal Swing and farmed down, but now I know they don't have Overheat, or they shouldn't have Overheat. So I can come in with my Steelix, and I can just go straight Psychic Fangs here. I will need 2 Psychic Fangs to KO, or 1 Earthquakes, double Psychic Fangs, just the safer play in case they do decide to use some shields. I'm going to make sure I'm throwing at good timing. I don't want to give them extra energy for free. So I throw 1 Dragon Tail, I throw the Psychic Fangs. Next one will still KO. They actually swap out into a Shadow Skuntank. Now, remember, I have a Mud Bomb banked on my Toxicroak. If they don't have Flamethrower, they cannot take out my Steelix. And they don't. So we're going to go ahead and just eat this Crunch. I'm going to, again, throw it proper timing. Get the Quake off. If they shield this, I'll be swapping out into Toxicroak. Or I'd let them throw, and then I would come in and Toxicroak, right? But they decided to go ahead and let that go. And at this point, I can just Dragon Tail down this Swampert, leave with a Psychic Fangs, or just throw it immediately at this point, because again, I have that Mud Bomb banked. They have to throw up a shield here. The game's over. They would have barely survived that, but I would have been able to fast move them down. So they end up having to throw energy here. I didn't want to swap out and end up like having 1 turn swap in. They get the Brutal Swing off, and then my Toxicroak goes down, or whichever move they throw. So I did just let it go. safer play. We get the Mud Bomb off. And that's going to be a GG's well played. Into the next battle, Toxicroak up against a Cantonian Ninetales. Shadow Cantonian Ninetales. Really cool to see. You don't see it a lot in the Ultra League, but I saw 2 of them today. Not personally. I saw one in my battles, then I saw one when I was watching a stream over on Twitch with a battler in a different elo range. So it was not the same battler. So maybe it is growing in popularity. We did just have Vulpix's Spotlight Hour, so maybe you're going to see some. It's not that great for Toxicroak. The Embers are absolutely shredding me. Mud Bombs, of course, would take them out. They do have to shield up the Mud Bombs. And they shield up both. So that tells me that they're weak to Toxicroak in the back. I end up hard swapping out into I know I just said that I don't do this. But I did. Maybe this is silly. We'll find out. We're going to go for the Crunch against this wall range. Shields are down. Crunch is the better move. And we do get the defense drop. I can definitely tank one Icicle Spear. Guzzlord's stab product is crazy. Thing is bulky. We're actually going to make it to this next claw. And I thought this was great. Because I'm like, they can't really Ember me down, right? Really not. It's resisted. But I think that last Powder Snow went through and I didn't think it was going to. Because now they can definitely Ember me down. It takes 3 Embers. They're in the red, but they have a ton of energy. They have a ton of energy right now. So I'm going to come in with Toxicroak just to force them to throw. I'm hoping that wall rain was the reason they didn't want to swap out. And I'm hoping that they're not double weak to Toxicroak in the back. Coming in with Steelix, they actually get 2 more Embers there. So I'm like, yeah, they got the overheat now. I got to respect it. Going up a shield here, and it is the overheat. Great shield. In the back, going to be a Tapu Fini. Here's the thing. The game's still not over. If I can make it to a Psychic Fangs and an Earthquake before they make it to double Surf, we still win this. Because one Surf is not going to take out. Steelix is just too bulky. Like, my back line is just super bulky. We're going to go ahead and eat this first Surf. Puts us into the yellow, almost into the red. We're almost at the Earthquake. Is this it? No. We're 1 Dragon Tail short. They make it to the next Surf. That's going to be lethal from this range. That's going to be GG's well played. I think the Earthquake would have been enough. So it was a very close battle right there. I think that I also like stalled 1 turn when they came in. It looked like, but I still would have been 1 turn short. So we got this. They had me there. All right, let's take a look at a couple battles where Toxicroak is just a phenomenal core breaker. We have a Scrafty on the lead. We resist everything from Scrafty. And they swap out into a Tentacruel. Mud Bombs are going to do massive damage, super effective, right? So they do throw up a shield. It wouldn't one-shot, but they do throw up the shield. I come in with Steelix now. Triple resisting the poison jabs with Steelix while taking super effective damage from these Scalds. I can just go straight Psychic Fangs. Again, another matchup where, yes, Earthquake would one-shot, but there's no reason not to go for the safer play. Psychic Fangs start dropping their defense. If they throw up a shield, that's fine. We're still dropping their defense and we're still chipping away at them. We're going to make it to another Psychic Fangs very quickly. We're making it to this next one. This one plus the Dragon Tail should be enough to take out. And I don't think they're going to make it to another Scald. So they do actually hard swap out into Scrafty. Switch clocks are misaligned. So I'm not able to swap out. But I'm still able to align this with Toxicroak. And again, we're resisting everything. They throw the Power Up Punch immediately. And so now I'm expecting them to go for the foul play. I overfarm. I CMP tie them on the foul play. I'm hoping that this Sledge Bomb takes them out. And does it? No, it does not. They survive with like, I don't know, 2-3 HP. 1 more counter would do it. But they're going to get the foul play off. It's going to put my Toxicroak into the red. But we do get the counter down. Now I'm staying in case they have something else weak to Toxicroak. They come in with the Tentacruel. I go for the catch, trying to catch the Scald. Did we get it? No. They actually throw Acid Spray. Wild. I have not seen an Acid Spray Tentacruel in the Ultra League. So they dropped my defense, meaning the poison jabs from the Skuntank are doing more. But like, look at how little they do still. Guzzlord's a beast. That's insane how little they do. So at this point, we're just going to outpace to these Dragon Claws, and that's really all that we need. Next Dragon Claw coming through, this one should be grabbing the final shield from my opponent. It does just that. They'll make it to another Crunch. They did not get the defense drop on the first one. They throw a bad timing, which is really nice of them. Because now I'm just 1 Dragon Tail away from the next one. And I'm very close to a Mud Bomb as well. So we're going to go ahead and just get off this Dragon Claw. Swap out into Toxicroak, 2 more counters. We're there. We actually could have countered down. By the way, this was my 5,000th win in the Ultra League. 5,000th. And actually the last battle that I needed for Legend. So I've obviously rearranged the order, but yeah, that battle was the last battle of the set that got me there. So I was really hyped to get my 5,000th win and hit legend in the same battle. Anyways, into the next one, going to have a Polyrath lead. Master Frodo Baggins, very active in the community on Twitch all the time. Plays it differently than any other Polyrath that I have ever faced. I've played this team for 2 days actually. These games are from 1 day, just 1 day, almost 200 elo, 19 and 6 day. Anyways, every Polyrath that I had ran into prior and post this battle always showed up the first one, and they always went Scald immediately. But Master Frodo Baggins instead calls the bait and then throws the Ice Punch. Insane. Anyways, now we bait the Dragon Knight, we grab a shield, we throw the Sledge Bomb, we grab the second shield. Shields are down, we can come in with Steelix. This is not like necessarily great for Steelix because Superpower does a ridiculous amount of damage. We're going to get this Psychic Fangs off. I don't think they're going to be able to reach a second Superpower. Throwing immediately here had me a little bit worried that this was it. Is it? No, just going to be the Dragon Claw. So we're going to get the Dragon Tail down. Out comes the Polyrath. I am going to throw the Psychic Fangs. I don't want them to be able to counter me down and then take out either my Toxicroak or do super effective damage with Ice Punch to my Guzzlord. So I do throw energy. Out comes Registeel. They get a nice lock on down, but Toxicroak is still pretty healthy that we're not going to get lock on down. So I come in, going to just get a little bit of energy and then swap out into Guzzlord. Registeel can never hold 2 moves. In fact, they're always going to need at least 10 turns from the last time that they threw. So even if they throw a second Focus Blast here after being at 100 energy, you're going to need 5 of Toxicroak's counters to get to another one. So just making sure that I was close to the Mud Bomb, that's really all that I needed to win this game. Guzzlord, of course, tanks 1 Focus Blast, gets the crunch off, and we're just going to go ahead and immediately throw this Mud Bomb. No reason to like risk it in case my math's wrong for some reason. We're just going to throw the Mud Bomb and take him out. So that's GG's well played. Let's go. All right, into the next one. Toxicroak into Deoxys defense. So here we go. I wanted to make sure I included all the core breakers. I promise you don't see a core breaker like 50% of the battles, but I wanted to make sure I included them. So I do 9 counters. I was hoping that they throw a Psycho Boost one fast move before they were at the back-to-backs, since that's like technically less predictable for me to catch. I don't catch. So they do some counter damage, and they end up throwing some energy, and they have to swap out. So that's where Steelix is great, right? It's a steel type, but it's not like horrible against defense Deoxys, especially if you have Crunch, which they were probably expecting. I don't. They come in with the Wheezing. I decided to go straight Psychic Fangs. Probably could have just gone Quake on this one since I did have that energy lead. They probably would not expect it. Probably would have been the better play. I end up throwing up a shield, expecting them to go straight Overheat, and they bait, and then they throw another Brutal Swing. So I think they're running Play Rough as their second move. I think a lot of people are running Play Rough as their second move right now because of Polyrath. You don't want to get walled by a Polyrath with a Fairy type, right? Like that just sounds horrible. So anyways, we take them out with Psychic Fangs. They come back in with the Defense Deoxys. I'm going to be over farming here. They throw some energy. Really doesn't matter what this is. Like either they're going to throw Psychic Boost and drop their counter damage, or they're going to throw Thunderbolt, which is double resisted. So I'm going to go ahead and get this Psychic Fangs off, acting like I had the crunch. We do grab the shield. At this point, I'm not going to be able to bait another crunch, so I just throw the Psychic Fangs immediately. My opponent lost track of where I was. They actually throw up their second shield, and that's beautiful. Because now I can come in and Guzzlord, I can wall all this energy. In the back, they have Cresselia. Cresselia, again, another core breaker. I know, it looks bad. It looks bad, but yeah, because Moonblast will not one-shot a Guzzlord, but it does hit for double super effective, whereas all the Psychic type moves are double super effective into Toxicroak. Anyways, I knew I'd survive one, so I actually go ahead and just no-shield, and they bait. That's all that I needed to win, because now I can get this next crunch off. I can swap out into my Toxicroak, and I can throw this Mud Bomb. Even if they didn't bait, I could still do this play, to be clear. But yeah, now they come in with the Deoxys. I can go ahead and no-shield this. They have to drop their attack with the Psycho Boost. Goodbye, Toxicroak. All we have to do, honestly, Dragon Claw probably does it from here. And again, their energy is just walled, so that's going to be GG's well played. All right, into the next one. Shadow Alolan Muck. we have two really solid answers for this, plus Guzzlord's definitely not bad against it. So Toxicroak, doing neutral with counters, super effective with the Mud Bomb, going to be throwing it, actually let that go through. And I hard swap out trying to catch, like, I don't know, a poison move maybe. They threw Crunch, no big deal. But I wanted to lure out a fighter, and they actually hard swap at the same time into Virizion. This matchup is not as good for Steelix as you want it to be, since you are doing super effective with the Psychic Fangs. You just get outpaced, and the Sacred Swords just hit too hard. But we will still be able to make it to this next Psychic Fangs. They're going to get a double kick down. They're going to be able to leave with a move. Both Sacred Sword and Leaf Blade are resisted by Toxicroak. But Leaf Blade, most people throw Leaf Blade. I think they're actually the same DPE, right? But most people throw Leaf Blade. So I tried a big brain. Expecting the Leaf Blade, and it is perfect. If that was Sacred Sword, I'd be kicking myself, but it was Leaf Blade, so I felt pretty good about it. Anyways, out comes the Muck. They farmed up a ton. We're expecting a Sludge Wave, and they actually end up throwing a Gunk Shot. Like, what? Excuse me, sir. You got a Shadow Alolan Muck. A little bit of overkill. Anyways, we have energy now. We're just going to go straight Claw. I just need to connect with one of three, which I'll be able to make it to 3. I guess my opponent realized I was going to make it to 3 easily if I used my shield. So let the first one go. But now I'm just going to let this go, because the counters from Toxicroak are going to be doing more than the Dragon Tails were. We'll just easily get this counter down. And we take out my opponent with them having 2 shields remaining. That's going to be GG's. Well played. Into the next one, Sandslash. You would think this is the dream lead. It's a little bit tricky because of most of the time there's a Galistopod safe swap, and Galistopod safe swap's tricky. It's tricky. Of course, they're resisting the counters. They have Liquidation, which hits Steelix for super effective. They have X-Scissor, which hits Guzzlord for super effective. So what I like to do is I like to bait with the Mud Bomb. Sludge Bomb would do so much because of Galistopod's just so glassy. They have to throw up a shield. And then we can come in with Guzzlord. The good thing about Guzzlord, resists the Shadow Claws, and it resists Liquidation. Liquidation's the way better charge move in comparison to X-Scissor. So yes, X-Scissor hits for super effective, but they need 3 of them to connect. So now I can just go for the Crunch. I will put them in Dragon Tail downrange before they're going to be able to make it to a 3rd X-Scissor. They would have had to give up their 2nd shield, and if they did, I could just match that shield. Alright, so we do get the farm down. Out comes the Alolan Sandslash. This is a really aggressive farm down if they go for the farm down. If they do, it's a little bit bad, right? Because of both Toxicroak and Steelix are weak to ground type attacks, which they have Drill Run. We don't get the defense drop, but they do end up throwing energy regardless. Now they built up to the back-to-backs, and I'm low enough on my Toxicroak that this Ice Punch would be lethal, so I am going to go ahead and throw up a shield. In the back is going to be Giratina. It's a very common team. So I just stay in long enough to bank a Mud Bomb, and then I come in with Steelix. Since this is Dragon Breath, we kind of destroy this thing. We're doing super effective damage with our Dragon Tails. We're resisting all of their fast moves. Shadow Sneak's just a bad move. It's a really bad move. And nobody runs Dragon Breath and Shadow Force. And Shadow Force isn't even that good of a move, to be honest. So at this point, you can see there, I was going to throw the Psychic Fangs, but then I'm like, I look at how little that Shadow Sneak did. I'm like, no, we just farmed down. Because then I can throw the Quake into the Alolan Sandshrew, and then I can just pivot out and throw the Mud Bomb. My opponent knows it's over. So the top left, that's going to be GG's. Well played. All right, into the next one. Poliwrath lead again. All right, so as I mentioned before, that one Poliwrath played weird. Let's take a look at a more typical Poliwrath interaction. We're gonna bait with the Mud Bomb because they've all been shielding, right? Right. Okay, great. Step 1 complete. Now they're gonna be throwing here. We expect it to be the Scald. Even though counters from them are resisted and mine hit for neutral, the counters are doing close to the same because Poliwrath has a really good stat product. Regardless, we're gonna make it to the Sludge Bomb. I actually go for the Sludge Bomb there. They do decide to play out the 2s. Most of them have played out the 2s, but I didn't want them to like not. And then this is questionable. This is questionable, right? But I'm like, oh, they're staying in. They have to have a Steel type in the back. Most of these have a Steel type in the back. So I catch the Ice Punch. That could have been real bad if they went for the Scald. So they were at 6 counters right there. They were at another Ice Punch. They were not at the Scald yet. So I go straight for the Psychic Fangs. They do catch it onto a Skuntank, but that's perfectly fine. This is a non-shadow. So Flamethrower, if they have it even, it's not going to KO my Steelix. So I could just stretch out for this Earthquake. I do get a low battery notification there. It is a Flamethrower. Yeah, it's really no big deal. I should have actually overfarmed a little bit more. But we just throw the Quake. We take them out. And do we see that Poly come back in? No, we actually see an Ampharos. And this is, again, like, this is a questionable play. We swap out immediately to throw the Mud Bomb. I thought it would do more. Because if they have Focus Blast, I might be in trouble. Because then they come in, they take out my Toxicroak with the Ice Punch. I gotta come in with Guzzlord now. They should not make it to another Ice Punch. We do get the farm down. They need, I think, 2 more Volt Switches. Yeah, they're there. Is this the Focus Blast? It hurts from my Ampharos. It is, and Guzzlord, hold on. I'm telling you, this thing's insane. We're gonna get this Dragon Claw off, and that's gonna be GG's well played to my opponent. That was a fun one. So here it is, 5,000 wins. Moving into the next screen, we get the 4-1. Actually, just needed a 3-2. Technically, we get a Wooloo. I actually got 3 Wooloos today, which I was really happy about. And there it is. We get to Legend. So I definitely do recommend this team. Toxicroak's so good. The backline's just so bulky. They can handle most things. So if you plan on trying out this team, let me know in the comments down below. If not, leave your favorite emoji or whatever comment you want to. It's really good for the YouTube algorithm. It helped out a couple videos ago. A ton of y'all were leaving those emojis, and it ended up being my best video of the last 10. So thank you so much to everybody that has been leaving those emojis. Also, leave that a like. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Thank you to my channel members for your support. Until next time, this is ChillisFM reminding you to always keep pushing forward.